Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, I'm going to go back to 1979. And this is, actually would have been released in probably December of 78, but it's dated March 79. In Marvel Team Up number 79, featuring Spider-Man and Red Sonja. What? Spidey and Sonja? What? Yes, it is Spider-Man and Red Sonja. And before we get into that, here are my two books. And my new one here is Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes. And it is more mainstream than the previous one. Has some superhero stuff, some more mainstream stuff, some Western story, and some horror stuff. And they're both each available for $7.99 on Amazon. Unfortunately, on Amazon, you go to look up this one, you can scroll down and click on series, and this one comes up. I don't understand why, but a new one is available. Also available on at Barnes & Noble on their online store. You can probably even order it at a bookstore, and also on Thrift Books. So check them out, and I hope you enjoy it. And I want to take the opportunity to thank everyone who has bought my books. Now, Frog does not want to go away. It's because I am speaking. Okay. So, here we have Marvel Team Up, number 79. And you can tell this is during that brief time period when they had the live-action Spider-Man TV show, because here it is, Marvel's TV sensation, right up here in the corner. Just down here, Sword of the She-Devil. But how on earth, because they're separated by about 12,000 years, how on earth do Red Sonja and Spider-Man manage to team up? Well, they did. Well, this is written by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, with pencils by John Byrne and inks by Terry Austin. And it's a nice looking book. Now, they have teamed up one other time since then, because at this time they were both Marvel properties, but Red Sonja is no longer a Marvel property, and Dynamite has the license on Red Sonja. So in 2007 and 2008, there was a crossover miniseries, 4-issue miniseries, between Marvel and Dynamite, hooking up Spider-Man and Red Sonja again. And then it was later reprinted in a graphic album, reprinting all 4 of those issues. Plus, in the back, it reprinted this issue, this story, because that new miniseries, even though it's been so many years, and they're no longer the same, owned by the same company, this is a sequel. The new one is a sequel to this one. I might have to cover that one of these days, because I've got the graphic album. But in this one is, and it's kind of, you think, oh, what's this in the middle? But that's reverse silhouette of our villain, so that you can't see who he is. Okay, now let's get into it. Marvel team up Spider-Man and Red Sonja. Boy, she's just wailing around with that sword. Now, I want to say here that John Byrne was apparently really channeling Frank Thorne, because mentions here at the time that she's got her own. They mentioned her own title, so she had her own title at the time. But I don't think Frank Thorne was still drawing it at that time. Might have been. Anyway, he really makes Red Sonja look the way Frank Thorne drew her, as opposed to other artists, later artists. And Sword of the She-Devil. And some real nice stylized lettering on the for that title. And it begins, it's like Christmas Eve or something. Just maybe even a day before Christmas, but a day or two before that, but I'm not sure. Anyway, Spidey is swinging through Manhattan, and he happens to be passing in front of the museum. It's the 22nd, so that's what it is, 1978. Swinging through the concrete canyons of Manhattan, and he's thinking about, he's on his way somewhere. And then we switch to inside the museum, and we see Spidey swinging by outside, and have the security guard. This is at night, of course, and he's making his rounds, and then he sees all this stuff, some of this weird stuff, and he sees this necklace, a medallion, an amulet type thing, and it just takes control of him. And he goes, I hear a voice, oh, I must obey, and he shatters the glass, and cutting himself, and he takes the amulet, and with his blood on the amulet, and this has been thousands of years, said 9,000 years, slowly mouthing words in a language unheard on Earth for over 9,000 years. Ooh. Then we're back to Spidey. He swings to the bugle, gets in an empty bat room, and changes to Peter Parker, because he had to get there just in time for the Christmas party, the newspaper Christmas party. He walks in, and we see what's kind of neat here is we see other people in the office at the party, and here Robbie Robertson is talking to a friend, and talks about so tell me, good buddy, how's it feel to be mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan TV network? And you look at it, and it's obviously Clark Kent. And this, of course, years before John Byrne did the Superman reboot. But yeah, it's Clark Kent. And so Spidey's there, talks with Jonah, and then suddenly it's Mary Jane. Mary Jane has popped up. Mary Jane. Oh, and she plants a big juicy one on him, because he's right underneath the mistletoe. Then the phone rings, and there's something going on. It says, Parker, Charlie Snow, who is a reporter, something going on down at the museum. Get down there. So he's grumbling to himself. He'd like to have gone. He could get there quicker swinging, but he's got to go in the company car with Charlie Snow, and suddenly said, well, Mary Jane had gone with him. She snuck in the car. So they get there, and they're trying to get through the cop. There's a police barricade, and something weird's going on. Whoa, something weird is going on, and it looks like this pyre of beam of magical flame, living flame coming up from the museum, and it's all good. And of course, this is John Byrne art, and it's all just a real lovely job of John Byrne. I really wanted to comment how nice he did the front of the museum here, and I imagine that's probably what the actual museum looks like. And so MJ turns around to speak to Peter, and he's gone. So she gripes about that. then, an ad for Shogun Warriors. That's when they were still doing the Shogun Warriors. And I remember reading a couple of those way back when. I'd like to find a couple of issues of that and cover that sometime. And so she's, well, where did he go? Maybe he snuck off. He must have snuck off and got into the museum because she sees the side door open and she slips in. Meanwhile, Spidey is crawling around in there and his spider sense is just going nuts. Something, whatever it is bad enough to just keep his spider sense going crazy. So he doesn't detect the actual immediate menace here. Some kind of gelatinous tentacled beastie snagging him and throwing him across the room, and he's fighting these magical demonic beings of some kind. And then MJ spots it. Oh no, Spider-Man! Oh, what? I've got to help. But before she can go or stay, something happens because she's right next to this sword in a display case, and it starts glowing, and she goes, oh my, she's possessed to open the case and take a hold of the sword, and bzam! Pretty soon there's no more Mary Jane, it's Red Sonja! Swinging her sword around. See, this is why I said he was really channeling his Frank Thorne here. And she comes swinging the sword, and she lays into of course, she's speaking her own Hycarnian language from thousands of years ago, so Spidey can't understand her. But she lays into those beings, and just whacking away, distract them so Spidey can get away. And then we see our villain finally pop up, and she recognizes him, Kulan Gath. Yes, he was an evil sorcerer who she had killed previously in her previous incarnation. But of course, Spidey can't understand what they're saying. And she's about to get magically zapped. Spidey snags her with a web and throws her into his arms and to save her. But she doesn't realize that. And she climbs the walls, and she's surprised. I thought he was a man. He must be some kind of monster, I bet you. And she thinks it's all he's actually working for the sorcerer. So she smacks him in the head while they're climbing the walls, and they both fall to the floor and are knocked out. Then they wake up, and there's some kind of magical vortex around the floor and they're going to be sacrifices, and they're chained up here to these pillars, and with us only a small what do you call it? Spell. I can't think of the word. He's allowed Spidey to understand his language as Sonja can understand him, so he only get half of the Spidey can only get half of the conversation. But this goop is from that portal is oozing out some sorcerous horror, gooping out and crawling up to get Sonja. And this is when Spidey recognizes that necklace, because he recognizes the whole place because he had just been there for a photo shoot for the paper the week before for this display. And he talks about the sorcerers talking about this temple and stuff. And Spidey realizes he doesn't realize this. He thinks this is a real temple. He doesn't realize what it is. And we got so many. But he's chained up. But he whips his webbing up to the ceiling, and then using his spider strength smashes his way out and swings around and brings down the fake display. Crumbling down, then swings over, rescues Sonja, and they take off. And she snatches up her sword, and they're confronted by the minions again. Ads everywhere. So he snatches her, and they fling around to avoid the minions, but now they're head to head with the evil sorcerer. So he's zipping, zapping, zooping around while avoiding all the magic bolts. Jumps into the guy, and they smash out the front door. There's both the wizard and Sonja are just taken aback by what they see. All the people and the cops and everybody around outside got the news media and they're just cannot comprehend all the lights and all the huge skyscrapers and stuff. And goes, oh, no, please, Dark Lords. No, I knew I had slept a long time, but I never dreamed the world could change so much. And Sonja's like almost not quite as surprised, but she's fairly surprised. And Spidey swings the guy around and whacks him back into the museum. And then Sonja starts chattering at him. You idiot! He's going to get away. And then he holds up the necklace. He ain't going anywhere without this. And so they go back in, and he's been changed back into the museum guard who's unconscious. He's going to have a headache from that punch. And then since everything's back, the wizard is no longer present. Then Sonja fades away and back into her host from one gorgeous redhead to another gorgeous redhead, turning into Mary Jane Watson, who then she collapses into Spidey's arms. And then the cops are rushing up into the place, and all they can find is the guard. He doesn't know what the heck's going on. So then it's the next day. He's on Peter is on the Staten Island ferry. Going out there, and the necklace starts calling to him. It says, oh, hearken, O man, I am power. Don me, and the world is yours. Hear and obey. And he yells, no, and tosses it way out into the water. So, ooh, that's cool. And then as it ends, he's thinking about Red Sonja. And I have a hankering for a flagon of ale. Red Sonja and Spidey. Oh, that was a lot of fun. Yes, since I am a big sword and sorcery and especially Robert E. Howard fan, and I have always been a Spidey fan as well. So that was always a pleasure to reread that after several years. And I hope that you enjoyed it as well. So tell me, what do you think of Spidey and Sonja together? Is that an interesting idea or what? And do like, share, and subscribe. You got Spidey friends who are Spidey fans, or friends who are Red Sonja fans. Maybe they've not seen this, and share it with them. And do leave your comments below. And remember, comics are art.